This conference will now be recorded.
There we go. So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting for Lake Stevens Sewer. It is 9 a.m. on July 8, 2021. As we get ready to call the meeting to order, a couple things I just want to read real quick, our usual little preamble that we've had. So, as usual, Commissioner, staff, citizens, since this is now a hybrid meeting, some initial comments are appropriate. As previously required by the Governor's proclamation in March 24th, the Lake Stevens Sewer District has held its commission's meetings remotely using the GoToMeeting platform. While this has occurred for more than a year, we are glad to be able to ensure continuity of business operations and are excited that we are now moving to a hybrid system of meetings as we safely work back to this in-person normal meetings. So members of the public who are participating in person, which we don't have any this morning, but hey, I'm sure they'll come back eventually. We're grateful for your support and patience as we work through this interim way of doing business. So our meetings are going to be held as far as like what we're going to do for public comment. So members of the public, you've been invited to join us in person and in accordance with CDC and state coronavirus guidelines via this virtual meeting format of the GoToMeeting. We're going to handle the public comment section in a couple ways. First, comments or questions that were emailed to the customer service folks with our district or otherwise received as sufficiently advance notice of this meeting, we will read them during our public forum. Secondly, during the meeting, any remote participants wishing to comment during the public forum may use the chat box feature, which our staff will then notify us so we can give you the opportunity to comment on anything you may wish. And third, if there are anybody who wants to come in to the in-person meeting, you can just indicate that to us and we will give you the opportunity to speak publicly and provide that opportunity for any comment. So because we're still using a hybrid format, we need to make sure that we do speak one at a time and that even though we record these meetings, our note taker does like to be able to take notes of the highlights. So with that being said, let me go ahead and call to order, and I'm going to call on each commissioner. So we'll start with Commissioner Koshi. If you can hear me, just indicate so.
Loud and clear and in high fidelity.
Excellent. Hey, that's our new little Bluetooth puck we're still using. So we get a lot of use out of this technology. Commissioner Stevenson, good morning.
Good morning.
She can hear me loud and clear. We're like right next to each other. And myself, I'm Commissioner Lorenzen. If you don't know who I am, but so with that being said, let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we are going down to our agenda approval. So this morning we got a revised packet. I'm going to assume that a revised packet did go out to everybody, or this is what was said. The only thing that did change was under number 7, if you're holding an older packet under new business, and that was just a voided check, and that would be void check number 8711 for $17,306 to Jacobson Homes, and reissuing new check 8785. So that was the only change to the agenda this morning. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion from one of my fellow commissioners to approve the agenda as now revised and submitted.
I'd make a motion we approve the agenda as revised.
Okay, there is a motion to approve the revised agenda as submitted.
And I'll second.
And there is now a second. So with that being said, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are there. Okay, moving on down to the consent items. There are consent items A through I. These are items that the Board of Commissioners have reviewed previously in detail. And so with that being said, I don't know if there's any questions, comments, concerns from the board. Not hearing any, I would call for a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve consent items A through I.
So
I'll second.
There is a motion and a second on the consent agenda items A through I. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We have done that. Moving on down to public forum. This is item number 5 under everybody's little agenda this morning. So I will check with our customer service and our other staff here if we received any notification prior to with wanting a comment, and everybody's shaking their head no. So with that being said, I'll move to the see if we got any hands raising in the chat bar, because I don't have a computer in front of me. Not seeing anybody do it that way. How about via this wonderful screen I'm looking at? We have a few people on there. It looks at least 11 people have joined us this morning. Anybody wanting to make a comment, concern to the board? And nobody's racing to hit the magic button to say yes. So we are going to move on from the public forum to item 6, which is now old business. The first thing up on old business is item A. It's the Pellerin 2 DEA second addendum. I'll go ahead and turn that over to staff.
The Pellerin 2 DEA second addendum adds 23 latecomer parcels to that plat. Part of the sewer construction of the plat benefited 23 parcels outside of the plat itself along Pellerin Road or 18th. So the DEA addenda has been reviewed by engineering, legal, and staff and is recommended for approval.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I know a few of us that have lived in the community for a few years know Pellerin Road, and it took me the longest time to understand that was actually 18th when I was a kid. So with that being said, any questions, comments, concerns, or any questions from the board? Not hearing any, I would entertain a motion that we approve second addendum to the Pellerin 2 Developer Extension Agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve Pellerin 2 DEA second addendum.
So there is a motion to approve. How about a second?
I'll give a second.
There is a first and a second on that DEA for the Pellerin 2 Developer Extension Agreement. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Not seeing any from my fellow board members. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion has carried, and so that has been approved. Moving on down to new business, which is number 7. The first thing and only thing on that was the addendum that I spoke about, or not addendum, but the addition, which is the void check 8711. But I will turn it over to staff to give us any further.
Well, you know, we reissued the check to Jacobson Homes, and they forgot to change the address in the vendor's file, so it was the old address again, and it actually has never come back. So we voided that check, put a stop payment on it, and reissued the check, and Eric Jacobson came into the office and actually picked it up. So it's just a housekeeping item, just so that it's in the minutes, so when we get audited, they can see the check number order.
Perfect. We always like that because, you know, 5-6 years from now, when everybody's looking at it, we don't have any way to understand how that became that. We'll all be scratching our heads. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion to officially recognize the change.
You actually don't have to make a motion as long as it's in the meeting minutes.
Okay.
You guys are aware that we voided the check.
Well, there we go. I'm sure my fellow compadres will like that. That's one less thing we have to make. So thank you for that, and we will go ahead and move on. We are actually down to managers' reports. Believe it or not, that's pretty quick. So the first one up is our general manager. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
All righty. Can you guys hear me? All righty, good. So I will start with our Caring by Sharing program has $1,238 in it, and that's enough to help 14 families. So that's always encouraging to see. And then for our plant update, we have average flows are about 2.5 million gallons a day, which is, just for reference, about 1 million gallons more than when we had our startup during dry weather flow. So we've grown about 1 million gallons over the years. Our membranes are performing really well. Our TMPs, which is the transmembrane pressure, is at 0.27, which is just awesome. Remember, in years past, we've had problems with that. So we're doing really, really good there. We are also having some maintenance done on our centrifuges. And then we had Snohomish County Regional Fire and Rescue come on site for a tour. And then they're scheduling another one just to have their new staff see what's going on down there. New employees are going really well, doing cross training, and that is going awesome. We also, the team down there is doing training for our ER portal, which is provided through Lumen, which is how we track all of our PMs and services and hours on equipment and things like that. So that is going awesome. And then lastly, I just want to give a real big thank you to Granite Falls Wastewater Treatment Plant. A lot of our plant staff and myself went this past week and toured there. They've been using magnesium hydroxide for a little while now, which is the program that we're going to. So we wanted to be able to learn from them. It is obviously a smaller operation that they got going there, but they're extremely hospitable, and we want to thank them for hopefully learning from their mistakes so that we don't make the same ones. And then the plan is to go visit Brightwater, which is obviously a larger plant than us. So we fall somewhere in the middle, and hopefully we can learn from both of them before we really implement the magnesium hydroxide for ourselves. And that's all I got for you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Sounds like you guys have been really busy. It's good to see us, getting in line to visit. I had the chance to take a small tour of Brightwater. It is a lot larger. It is huge. It covers a lot of area. It's good to see that the district, fire district's coming in to kind of take a look at and take a tour, because it kind of gives them an understanding of our layout, because it's always nice to have them see it in case there is an emergency, to understand where certain things are. So that they come in and have to deal with that. So, anything from the other members of the board? No, not okay. Let's go ahead and move on down to the assistant to GM.
All right. So to date, the district has collected 319.59 ERUs of collection or connection fees, and have issued 370 permits. I'd like to commend the collection staff. We recently had an issue with lift station 14. It's been troubling us for a while, and the station went down temporarily for a little bit yesterday, and we were able to mobilize the entire crew out there to make sure not a drop spilled. And with the help of an outside contractor, they were able to troubleshoot the component that had failed and got it replaced, and station was back up and running by the end of the day. So they did a great job. And then yesterday, Angeline and our consulting inspector, Grant Osborne, did the final walkthrough inspection for Mountain View. So we're getting close to project completion there. We're still waiting on a few items as far as the lift station acceptance yet, but getting close to final acceptance for the Mountain View project. And then I had one housekeeping item as well. In February 25th, 21, the commissioners approved a not to exceed budget for the JWC band screen rehabilitation, and that not to exceed budget was $90,000. We went over that by $408.15. So just wanted to make the commissioners aware, and I apologize for the overrun. And that's all I've got.
Perfect. Thank you. Kudos to the entire team mobilizing and getting that taken care of. So it just shows how well, everybody can come together and go out there and make sure that we keep a clean and safe environment by, getting people there to mitigate any issues. And $408, well, in our business, that's not really a lot. I mean, considering how things have been fluctuating kind of bit, especially cost and materials. So, I'm sure my fellow commissioners probably be thinking the same way, but I don't want to speak for them, so I'll let.
I was just going to say, anytime the overage is less than the amount of money Dan carries in his wallet on a daily basis, it's a good day.
That's my coffee money. Well, thank you much on that. Let's move on down. Number 9, we got city report. I know the city administrator is online, and I hope he can hear us. So I can hear him earlier. So it's yours, Gene.
Good morning, everyone. I don't have a lot for you. Work continues down here on Mill Spur and downtown, and just a lot of maintenance going on.
Excellent. Yeah, it's changing down there. It's going to be neat to see when all that is completed and open, because I think it's gonna flow real well. All connect. So good job. Kudos to the city. Well, let's move to commissioners' reports. We'll start with Commissioner Stevenson.
I don't have much. As always, I think you guys are rock stars. So, and I love that there were, only slight delays in getting the lift station back up and running for 14, and that there was no spills. Great job. So.
Mr. Koshi.
Yeah, I just would echo those comments. It's everything's routine and maybe even a little sleepy until it's not. And, and that's why we are in the business we're in. So appreciate the work there.
Excellent. And yeah, I guess I will write those sentiments also, but congrats to everybody for doing a great job, the entire organization. I mean, we've been through a lot. It's been over a year that we've all been cooped up, and we're finally back into some semblance of normalcy, as you guys can see, where we've attended, and I'm sure people will start coming back in, but we did it. So, look forward to more in person and kind of interacting once again, because I think we're all ready for it. So with that being said, I know we have an executive session. I am going to say that this executive session is obviously going to be in regards to potential litigation. Of course, legal can correct me if I am completely off base. I anticipate this to last, and we're going to go until 9:30 this morning. If there is any extensions, we'll obviously come out and speak of those. I don't expect any decision to follow in regards to executive session, and once we get back in session, we would then just conclude the meeting. So I assume, and we know what happens when the electeds assume. So I'm going to turn it over to legal to make sure I'm on base, and then we'll go from there. You're up.
This is Brad Cattle. The only correction I'd make is it's not potential litigation, it's pending litigation. And with that, the commission will recess into executive session.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. We'll waive shortly with when we need to be re-entered back into the original meeting for our staff as they kind of watch on the screen remotely.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we are back in regular session. It is 9:30, so the Board of Commissioners have no decision to follow once we left the executive session, as previously mentioned. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion by any of the fine commissioners this morning to adjourn this fine meeting.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And just a reminder, when you get an opportunity, sign the vouchers so they don't have to chase us down. But thank you, everybody, for attending this morning. Appreciate it. And I guess until the next one.
Take care, y'all.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy.
Bye, guys.